Smashing them in the clearances this quarter. 8-1 now to the Bombers. Hobbs receives from Martin. Now to Caldwell. On to Guelphy. Time for a fumble. Back to Caldwell. On to Menzies. Bombers on fire!
The Bombers on fire indeed. Carlton in the mud. Crimea River. Welcome back to the Don Pod. You're here with me, Sam, and Nath for a wonderful, wonderful one. What day is it? Monday night review.
Monday, Sam.
Second time in 2 weeks, beating an old enemy. Good evening, Nathan.
Good evening, Sam.
It's
very exciting to have beaten Carlton and Richmond in the last few weeks.
North.
I did think about this the other day, and the thing with North is I only know one person that barracks for North. Whereas I know several Carlton.
He's a fun person to hang shit on, though.
Yeah, it's true, but there's not many North Melbourne supporters, let's be honest.
There isn't, unfortunately.
But how about us? We're like half decent at the moment.
How about us? Six on the ladder.
6. Game short of the top 4.
Level on points with fourth.
Yeah. Are we?
Yep. It's level with Brisbane. I don't know about buys and stuff.
I'll tell you what, quickly, Brisbane, don't come to Melbourne anymore.
No, a bit of a shame you have to win the grand final in Melbourne, isn't it? Terrible shame. Essendon 13-8-86, defeating the Carlton Blues 16-6-52. First time since 2019, we've won 4 in a row. First win against Carlton since round 11, 2019 as well. And if you're paying attention or you like rugby, Melbourne Storm 54, defeat Carlton 52.
That is a nice little dig there, Sam. I really respect that one. So a rugby team has outscored them.
Yep.
You know, they say that there's always people having to go at women's football about not being very high scoring. Maybe Carlton could...
Well, let's not go into that because that gets a bit...
Oh, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but some games are just low scoring.
Some games are low scoring. That's right. It's the quality of the football.
That's right.
I'll reel through some stats and then we'll
go
dive into it. Interestingly, minus 15 inside 50s. I think that's an ongoing concern a little bit that we lose that sort of count every week. Interestingly, though, we were plus 12 tackles inside 50, so bit of a disparity. I've written plus 3 inside 50s next, and all that's all about. Down on the contested possessions, down on uncontested possessions, up on marks inside 50, plus 31 tackles. Thank you, Simon. Jesus Christ. And as I say, plus 12 tackles inside 50. In front of the sticks, how good to have him back. Peter Wright, 5 goals. 5 goals straight. He did do a
He kicked a point.
Did he?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
He had one drop short.
Oh, yes, he did too. That was drop short. Yes, sorry.
I know my boy. I know my Pete, all right?
Yeah, no, you're right. It did drop short. I had several beers by that stage.
5 goals 0. Thank you very much. Menzie 2, Snelling, Phillips, Merritt, Langford, Guelphy, Caldwell, singles. Martin, best on ground, 30 touches, 12 contested, 7 clearances.
Hang on, we'll be deciding who's best on ground later on. Thank you, young man.
And spoiler alert, and 8 score involvements. Caldwell, 25 touches, Hobbs, 24. A really interesting game. First quarter, I thought we owned. Second quarter, I thought we got owned.
Oh, yeah.
Third quarter, we fucking owned.
Wow.
Fourth quarter, a bit funny. What was your take?
I'd agree. There were stages in that second quarter when I thought we weren't going to win this game. Although they weren't scoring, they had control of the ball. They were controlling how they were defending. We couldn't move the ball the way we wanted. We weren't winning the clearances, although those numbers were a bit closer when I looked at later after the game, but it just didn't look like we were winning clearances. I thought De Koning was doing a great job in the ruck. Then you find out that Draper's probably been carrying a bit of an injury, so you go, well, that's probably fair enough. And I thought their move of tagging Merritt for that first half, it was paying off for them. They weren't getting that drive from him. So things were going poorly for us at halftime.
Yeah, and it was good to know post-match. So if you missed it, press conference, Brad Scott saying that Draper's been carrying sort of a hip issue for a couple of weeks, so that's why he was taken out, just to cotton wool, I guess, which is reassuring, because I think we weren't quite sure if he'd done something, and he's not a sub candidate.
No.
Ordinarily.
But it made sense for why Phillips had come in the way he had, because they were obviously worried about if Draper didn't make it through the game, that they'd be in a bit of trouble, and that, you know, so they brought in an extra ruckman just to sort of help with that.
Yep, which is good clarity, because I wasn't sure if it was. We've talked about this before, where they're having Wright, Wiedemann, Phillips, Draper. That's quite tall.
Very tall.
Yeah, it seems as though Phillips was there just to cover, just in case, because that would have hurt if Drapes had gone down in the second quarter. That would have hurt us.
Yeah. And I think that from that, I still would prefer not to play Phillips if Draper's fit. I think we get away with it against a team like Carlton, but I would struggle to think that would work against like the Melbourne. Well, Melbourne got 2 ruckmen, so you might do it then, but
2 class ruckmen.
Yeah. So, but I would worry, like on a wet day, Phillips wouldn't give you a lot.
No.
Can't keep diving all day and get free kicks.
He was solid last night without.
Yeah.
It was a much bigger input game from him from what, you know, he had that little run with virtually no input. So it was good.
I agree. By the way, too, just a bit of news that I read earlier just before this, that Zach Merritt has no case to answer for that tackle at the end.
Christ. I could see it both ways. I was worried. He didn't really pin the arms, which seems to be the determining factor. It was a friggin' hard tackle.
Yep. And it was like a minute to go.
Yeah. And so was the one against Melbourne. It was very late on.
Yeah, true.
Stop it, Zach. Game's over, mate.
Yeah, but he's just trying to rack up those fantasy points for all those people who got him as captain. You know,
chuck him on the bench for the last couple of minutes if we're done, right?
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Shall we go general summation and then we'll go into the players, or do you want to do it the other way around?
No. I think general summation.
So first quarter, I thought it was a pretty hot game of footy.
Huh.
It was low scoring, but it was good. It was a bit like, and this won't resonate with you at all, but playing FIFA against a bloke that just likes long shots. Carlton were just pumping them from 60 left, right, and centre. But it was hard. It was tough, and it looked for all subtle. For those that can't see, Nathan's just put his background on.
Just realised. Sorry, people.
It was a tough game of footy, and I thought, oh shit, you know, Carlton have come to play.
They
finally
finally
got the message. So did I. I thought they were going to come out and belt us, to be honest.
Yep.
Thank God no one said Bruce v footy before. Still gives me nightmares. And it looked like it was going to be a pretty hot game of footy. And then first quarter, what do you have?
No, you keep going.
Thoughts? All right, good. Second quarter, they got on top quite a bit. And I think scoreboard-wise, let me just check. Yeah, two goals, 5 they kicked in quarter 2.
And I was really worried at the end of that half. As I said, at halftime, I thought they had us. I thought, geez, we're in trouble. Things are not working. When we're going forward, we were scoring fairly easy. Like felt like we were scoring more, you know, and statistically we were with our inside 50s compared to our scores, compared to them. But we were struggling to defend. And Zerk Thatcher and Laverde had really tough matchups for the guys that were on Mackay and Curnow, because they were just outsized by a lot, and giving away free kicks, and
nothing really new.
No, it continues our motto of we're short of tall. Like we need to find, like, I think we're really starting to see a really strong forward 6, forward 7 sort of guys. But
turns out we were short 2 talls.
Yeah, the back 6 has still got not massive, but big issues around the height. Like, when we have to play a team of tall forwards, we are in trouble. And we saw it even against North Melbourne.
Yes, Larky. And so I had to think about that.
Well, Coleman Jones?
Coleman Jones, yeah. He had a decent game again this week, actually.
Yeah, but you can see that's something we need to work out. Like, I know it's Reed, but we have to get him fit, or Stewart, or, you know, we need to get one or two of those 200-centimetre defenders in there to help.
Absolutely. Now, over the bye, we're going to do a special release. Yeah, we're going to do a pod where we talk about
we do
in depth, outside of the sort of match review space. So, stay tuned. Yeah, I was
But what happened in that third quarter, Sam?
Well, hang on, let me just finish my thought.
Okay.
So we're actually 2 points up in that half time, which felt a bit like robbery.
Lucky.
Pete dropped a lovely 50-metre set shot. And
still kick. It's good that the shoulder didn't affect the kicking.
Yes. But, you know, you look at the whole game. I don't want to play shit and win, but you can have quarters or 10 minutes where the other team gets on top. That's fine. So to go in and still be on top was nice.
Yep.
Because, you know, the little man in their head, he's going, oh, shit, we dominated for 20 minutes of that and we're still losing. And then we come out third quarter.
What happened? What changed?
And 10 points to Brad Scott, 10 points to Gryffindor. Chucked Zachy Merritt forward.
Dork.
Which is a real move that, like I said it to you before, Truck would never.
No.
Truck would have let that roll and roll and roll and roll. Scott moves Merritt forward, and within, 38 seconds, Merritt gets on the end of a centre clearance, kicks a goal. And they get stuck into Curnow.
Yep. And then he's involved in the third, like there's a string of 6 there, and he's involved in the third, and I think like the 5th or 6th, or maybe 7th or something like that. He's involved in 3 of them.
Yeah.
Clearly.
It says a lot about Zach. Because he wasn't having a brilliant... He still had impact, for sure.
Oh, he's still played a good game.
He had 16 touches and 2 goals in the first quarter last week.
Yep.
Goes forward, doesn't sulk, gets on with it, kicks a goal, keeps his impact. And we were both not happy with, but worried about him as captain. Didn't necessarily think that was the best choice, whatever.
I was concerned about the play because he seemed like a quiet kind of guy.
He is double the player he was 12 months ago.
Yep. And listening to that audio, did you hear a bit of that audio from Fox?
Yep.
Yeah, from last week's game. That was really interesting. I really liked a lot of the stuff I heard in that, especially when he said we got Ray.
There was one bit.
Devon, stop shouting at me.
Trying to get me, Devon. There was a bit in that audio actually that's really great where he said, I can't remember the exact words, said to 2 other players, I'm going to take him out of the contest. Whoever was on him, I think it was Shields.
Yep.
And then you 2 go and get the footy. Like, I'm going to take my man away. I know it's pretty basic, selfless kind of stuff, but in a game that's dominated by numbers, and so-and-so had 30 possessions and, 118 fantasy, whatever, that's leadership.
Well, what I thought was fascinating was, so that third quarter started, as you say, Merritt was moved forward, and the Carlton dropped that tag of Curnow, which I think was a mistake right there and then, because so they'd been in that game at halftime, and I thought that was possibly because we hadn't been great in clearances. Like Caldwell been doing very well, and so Perkins had been our main sort of CBA turn up, which was really, he was playing a tagging role on, or a role, we'll say, I don't know if it's tagging, on Cripps.
Yep.
Then in the third quarter, because of Curnow didn't know what to do, or I don't know, maybe they didn't know what to do or whatever.
Just left him in the midfield.
Yeah, they left him, which was a massive mistake. He's not a midfielder anymore. They shouldn't have brought him in to tag. I don't agree with that. But so he went to Stringer, and Stringer had a really big influence in those next 3 or 4 clearances that we, scored from. Like he was just better than Curnow because he's too big and strong for him.
So Merritt, first goal that quarter from a centre clearance.
Yep.
From the next centre clearance, basically we kick a point. And then turn it over on their kicking. Guelphy kicks a goal from, I think, a bit of a relatively soft free kick. But letter of the law, I think it's there. Yeah. Pete kicks one off a turnover on half back. Phillips gets on to one, which was a turnover, and then a couple of free kicks. Wright kicks one from a turnover in our defensive 50. And then Menzies, which is the audio you heard at the start, Menzies kicks one from the centre clearance, which was just...
beautiful.
A very, very beautiful thing to watch. 2 handballs from Caldwell that were perfect. Even had time to fumble, which says a lot.
And the one after that too, there was one by Redmond after that, which was also a really great running goal out of back half.
So that was 6 goals. 6 goals in 9.5 minutes of actual play time.
And that was the game done.
That was it. Yep. Well, Carlton haven't kicked above 60 points for a month, or since West Coast, which, it's West Coast.
Which is concerning. Like you as a supporter, I'd be like, well, what's going on? Like, how can we have 2 Coleman medalists and not score 60, kick 10 goals in a game of footy? Like, seriously.
Just at that point, sorry, I'll go back a bit. Yeah. At the point of that Menzies goal, we were 8-1 clearances in the third quarter.
Yep.
And we had 8 goals from our last 67 disposals.
Phenomenal. That's just, you can't
replicate that.
Nope.
That's once every 2 seasons sort of football.
But that's what's really encouraging about that is that there's the ability to go
ability to
quickly and score. Yeah, because sometimes you can't do that. Like,
and I don't know the stats, but we seem to be a very high centre clearance scoring team.
I think we seem to,
a lot of scores from that source. What changed too? First half, we were a bit fumbly, a bit panicky. I was like, is it wet? Probably was dewy. Not dewy. So we just looked a bit meh. So did Carlton, to be fair. Yeah. But that change in that third quarter, we were so clean. Every little pick up off the ground, bang, got it, hit. Just, I don't know what Brad Scott said at halftime, but more, please.
And I think, too, another point of this, too, is that guys like Nick Martin really stood up in those clearances. We'll talk about him later. But the other person I'd like to talk about who didn't play was Parrish, who's still, like, I think he's leading the AFL for average clearances. Probably not
leading the
total
Essendon
clearances anymore.
Total clearances.
Yeah, he's probably still leading our club for clearances. But anyway, so he's a really, like, he has to come back into that team and he helps out with that role. Like, and then you talk about, well, who gets pushed out a little bit and all that sort of stuff, which is a great conversation, I think, to be having. Like,
and we'll have that later on.
Yeah, we'll have that later on. But that's a really exciting sort of part of that. Like, the guys that were there did the role.
We haven't had selection pressure like this for a long, long time. You'd mentioned the Redmond play, so I've got here that it led to Wright's goal, and unfortunately Wright kicked about 3 in the third quarter, so I'm not quite sure which goal it was, but we won the ball back on half back. Yeah, but that's what I was going to describe. Fuckhead. We got the ball back on half back.
Thought it was pretty obvious.
And I think Redmond got it, kicked it, not 15, play on, burnt his opponent, got the ball back, handballed again, kept running, got the ball back.
Got it again.
Hit Pete on the chest.
Yep. And just got over Silvani. Yep.
Now,
those Silvanis have just been touching the ball for a long time.
Yeah. We talked about Red Dog, and that, you know, if he did leave, maybe it's a replaceable because a halfback. Blah, blah, blah. That passage of play made me go, no.
Oh,
I
don't want him to go,
no,
but
obviously not.
But we can't offer him the world to stay either.
The speed, the ball use.
Yep,
and
that
the
final
fact that
kick.
if he gets the ball 50 out, he can kick goal.
Yep, so 100%.
It was a great passage of play. Every part of the execution was just
but
glorious.
what your hope is happening from these sort of wins is that, and you saw it. I saw a lot of it in this game actually. I saw there was a moment where Menzies punched the ball, and when he was running back with the fly ball, he got a punch on it over Sard and it going out. And 3 or 4 players, senior players, went up to him and gave him real head rubs and great bit of play.
Stringer it was. I've got that another written down there to mention that spoil.
Yeah, where Hobbs, I think, did something sort of similar and cracked in, and the guys all ran over to him and all gave him a pat on the ass, pat on the head and said, great bit of play. Now, my hope is that guys like Redmond are starting, for the first time in a long time, let's be honest, are maybe starting to see, oh, hang on, this list it's here where, you know.
Well, you've touched on 2 things I wanted to talk about then, so let's talk about it.
Go. You expand. I've touched. You expand.
Menzies. First things first, the AFL commentary in general need to realise it's Menzies, not Menzies, please.
Good point.
Bit of respect.
I'll probably get it wrong.
Bit of respect on the man's name. They're professionals. They need to do better.
I'm not.
The spoil on Sard, it was a 2-on-1. He was running back with the fly and he punched it out of play and got a throw in. And it was Stringer that went up to him and gave him a big pat on the head. And I was like, thank you, because I wanted to do that. That was such a small thing.
And that's great from Stringer too, because that's the leadership.
Such a small thing, but it wasn't. He made a contest, halved it. He was outnumbered. Perfect.
We won the contest, play. Really, yeah.
Menzies also got a lovely tackle in the fourth quarter, which was a complete shit-the-bed moment from the Carlton player. But
shit-the-bed moment, wasn't it?
It was a great tackle. You still have to make the tackle.
Yep.
Which leads me to a little bit of a conversation, I guess, around where's the improvement come from? The fact that we, 8-5? And Peter Wright only played one game. So we're 7-5 without Peter Wright, who kicked 53 goals in 2022. Which, start of the year when we lost him, my heart broken.
You cried. There was a moment with tears.
I did.
I had to console. It was embarrassing.
Had a cuddle.
He just sobbed uncontrollably. There were tears, and then he cut his hair. I can't go on.
It was a real Britney Spears moment. I forgot where I was going now. Jesus Christ. the improvement in the bottom 6 is what I really wanted to mention. And Menzies fits into that. There was another player who I can't remember, which is really,
he's
really
kicked 15 goals this year. Is it 15, I think?
Thank you for filling.
Yep,
15
15 goals.
Seems like a lot, but yeah, sure, 15 goals. But
that's unreal.
It's everything else. It's the tackles. It's the spoiling. He did it a couple of times against Richmond in key moments. Guelphy's really just now settled as that role. He's a role player, but he does it
probably making it hard for Tip and Woody to come back in.
Does it beautifully. The other one I had was Durham.
Yep.
Our wings are locked now, and that was a real issue for now. Durham's not under any pressure whatsoever, and obviously neither's Mardo.
I'd love to see Durham's heat map. Because I still think that, so for me, to jump in there, I thought Snelling was probably pretty ordinary. Like he tackled, he did some nice little short passes, but some horrible fumbles, some killing moments. But
we are getting more out of that bottom 6.
Yeah, I know. And this is what I'm going to say, though, is that I think that the bottom 6 can be improved again. Like, say for this week, Snelling went out and Parrish came in.
Mm-hmm.
That improves your bottom 6 again.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe not this week, sorry, after the bye. After the bye, a guy like Sardis, who we'll talk about later, led the VFL, like he could come in and push whoever that other bottom 6 sort of player out is. I don't know who that is.
So, Durham, you wanted a heat map. 17 touches, 62% defensive half, and genuine wing.
Yep, okay.
Genuine wing.
Yep. But, this is what we're talking about, is trying to improve this list. Like we talk, if we can get a 200-centimeter defender in there playing good footy, that pushes maybe like a Laverde out. It's improving that list all the time.
Yeah. Well, on that, let's talk about players.
Yep.
And we'll start
I made the segue.
Thank you. We'll start. Oh, we better start with Mardo. I saw a tweet. There was that great shot of him on the bench, just sort of sitting back. Making the most of the space available to him.
Yep.
And the tweet
really
was
had the legs open.
BDE. Do you know what that stands for?
BDE, best
Big Dick
Dustin.
Energy.
Oh, big. No, I don't know that one.
Fantastic tweet, and a pretty good summary, to be completely honest. 30 touches. He had about 12 or 13 in the first quarter. Didn't hit the scoreboard. He did actually one behind. 9 marks, 3 tackles, 7 clearances. And again, just the general population of the AFL now are starting to go, oh shit, this guy's good. We knew that.
Well, and I find it interesting. So, 30 touches, and I'd love to delve deeper into that sort of data, because Chera and, Walsh had more, but was like Chera, I saw, and Walsh, that just didn't influence the game. Same way, like Martin seems to get the ball, carries it forward, hits targets, really hurts the opposition. Like score involvements, I would probably guess he would be high in those sort of numbers.
Score involvements, I did say that off the top, actually.
All right.
8 score involvements for Mardo.
Yeah, so I'd love to, maybe I need to make that comparison with, say, Walsh and Chera to see what they were at. Because,
you're testing me now.
Well, they had, higher possessions, but I'm just saying that he's so efficient with his possession. Like, he's not, 30's a lot.
Chera had 10 score involvements, to be fair, and I think 5 tackles. So, Chera had a very good game. But Walsh, 0 tackles. And this is, I didn't expect to have to do opposition analysis here.
Sometimes.
3 score involvements.
Yeah. That's not very good.
Not great. No, not a big night for him. It honestly wouldn't have taken Mardo doing much to get value for money.
Oh, because we didn't pay anything for him, you mean?
He was a supplemental, whatever, period player pick. But Jesus.
He's turning into a real talent, like a real sort of 200-plus game player that we've just plucked from obscurity.
Man's going to get some votes too.
Well, he'd have to be going close to be in the All-Australian conversation for a winger.
Absolutely. I don't watch enough other football to really delve deep into that, but
I'll watch a little bit, and there's some other guys, other guys having pretty good seasons, but he's going to be in the conversation. Like his last 4 or 5 games have been very good.
Random off-topic question there. Mm-hmm. Who do you like watching? Do you have another team that you like watching play? Or do you just really...
Well, that's a tough one. There's some teams I really hate
Not that
watching.
you like, as in I like that team, but just the ones you like
No, that I
play
can
footy.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really on the Gold Coast Giants bandwagon at the minute.
I can certainly watch those teams play. No worries. I even though I hate Richmond, I can watch them play because I like the way they crack in. Freo, I'd put Freo in that list. I don't mind watching them play.
So you would have loved Saturday night footy then?
Yeah. I did watch a bit of that game. Actually. I have friends over, so I struggled too because they're not really into footy.
Yep. Bit hard. Losers. I've watched GWS the last couple of weeks. They're playing some entertaining football, and as to Gold Coast, it's good. I feel a bit sorry for Gold Coast in the expansions. I know GWS a bit more success in the time, but anyway, random question.
No, fair enough.
The next individual we need to talk about almost brought a tear to my eye.
Oh, God,
as
here
he
we go.
kicked goal number 1.
Have you got pants on?
That's a personal
Just
question,
checking.
but I do. I was worried that 3 months out, whatever it's been, and we've seen what happened with Mackay, and just that beautiful kicking action might have. I would hate to see him get the yips, basically, and that 5 straight in your first game back after. Well, he hasn't played an AFL game of football for 10 months.
No, yeah.
We love him because we had a conversation just between me and you about getting him from Gold Coast, and then we big fat did.
We still think that it was us. Like, I think they heard us saying it at on one of the pods, and they're like, "Oh, that's a good idea."
Clearly.
Dodoro listens to our pod and goes, "Yep, those boys know their stuff. I'll get this. What's his name again? I'll go look for him."
Hoida.
6 litre. What was that one the other day?
7-seater. Yeah, I can't remember, but it was funny.
Yeah, that was a good
People
one.
people keep telling me, sorry, in the chat that he kicked 5 goals 1, but the app says he kicked 5 goals 0. So
I still think the one was
one that fell short. They marked it. They marked it short.
No, they maybe did miss one. Anyway,
it's 5 goals 0 on my app. So
yep, that doesn't matter. I like, as I said, I felt with him, Stringer, Langford, who's kicked 20, and I don't think he kicked a goal. Oh, did he kick a goal? I don't think he did.
Who knows?
Yeah.
One.
So, now Langer's got no pressure on him. Like, he's going to get the third best defender.
And 6 tackles
when he
inside
floats
50
down there. The Weeds, he didn't have a great game, but he's still going to play a really important role. Who else was there?
Sorry, can we just keep gushing about Pete?
Oh, well, I'm trying to just gush about our full forward 6, but
No. I'm only here for Pete. It's probably done, to be honest. Just that one from outside 50, just typical Pete. Flushed it when Carlton couldn't kick a goal to save themselves. He takes a mark 50 out and sends it through post height. And honestly, if he wasn't on his first game back, he would have taken about 8 marks in the first quarter alone.
I was a bit worried when he was dropping a few. I thought,
he should have had one that wasn't paid.
Yeah, yep.
Phil's just dropped in 2 metre 7-seater team beater, Mr. Peter.
That's it. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, I've forgotten. We'd done so well without him, and not that I've forgotten he existed, of course, but
no, but how he's just so important. As I said, he's so important to the makeup now that he draws a big name defender onto him. Teams will, be concerned about where he's at, and then that opens up the game for the Langfords, for the Wiedemans, for the other guys that have played really well without him in the last 12, 13 weeks, who've been really good. They're all like, well, things are going to get a bit easier in the second half.
Yeah, and even the smalls, because now because he's 2 meters tall, in case you didn't know that.
Some of us measure things by him.
We do.
That's a Peter. That's 2 Peters.
Who's that?
Yeah, you're right. So Menzies and that have got these
context.
more packs to crumb from.
But unreal. I want to mention Langford because he kicked 1 goal, didn't really have an impactful night on, just watching.
Stat-wise.
But 6 tackles inside 50.
That's
from
important.
A game high 8 tackles for him.
Yeah,
and
when you think Carlton had 33 tackles for a team and he's had 6 as an individual, that's
inside 50, 8 total.
Yeah.
And he had 1 chance at a set shot and nailed it. So
yep,
that's a really good mix in the forward line now.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
I was a bit worried when we talked about it a little bit and I didn't have an answer of having Wright, Wiedemann, Langford, Stringer. But it worked.
Mm.
And Ruckman. And we had the extra Ruckman as
And
well.
we had 2 ruckmen as well, yeah. And I see young Hunter.
Yes, Mr.
Kick 4 in the VFL. So
had a very good game from all reports.
yeah. And I'd also like to say Baldwin played very well defensively again, I heard. So just between you and I.
All right, we won't tell
Still
anyone.
annoyed that he's not in our senior team, but anyway.
You won't tell anyone that you said
No.
that. I'll let you talk about Caldwell.
Oh, look, Caldwell, I thought, he's played 30-odd games, 35 maybe games. He continues to play a game like he did last night where his leadership, his aggression towards the ball, his strength over the ball, his brilliant hands, like really, really good hands, are coming. I remember there was a quote from one of the Giants players when he was drafted, the year he was drafted up there, and they were talking about, like, who do you think, is a real young, and he was like, this Caldwell kid's going to be a freaking star. Like,
It was their captain,
was it?
Phil Davis.
Yep.
And he was asked, who would you give a 10-year deal to?
Right.
And it was Calders.
Yeah.
I think,
and you see it in a game like last night. You see all this talent. You go, yep, he's just still a young kid, still a long way to go. But
he's one of the ones that, in my head at least, I seem to think is older and more experienced than he actually is.
But would he be 30 games?
I wouldn't have thought so. Oh, I can start checking.
Quickly.
Phil for me. No, he's
people look
at
Phil.
Who's Phil?
So
shit. What? So saying he's played 3 games in 2021. What a great bit of
what app did you go to?
The Footy Live.
Anyway, I'm guessing 30 to 35 because he didn't play. He had injuries last year or the year before with us and missed a big chunk of footy. I think
he missed basically a full year.
No, like just exciting young kid.
He's played 47.
Oh, there you go. Miles off.
That's still, he's less than 50.
No, he hasn't played 50. And the other one I will also mention in that same bracket was Perkins, who played a very different role than I've seen him play for ever, I would probably argue.
Could have gone unnoticed. Man on man, basically the whole game with Crepar, who we think is a pretty handy footballer. Brownlow medalist, yes.
But he is sadly out of form, and I'm not having to go Perkins there. I'm saying that Cripper, something's wrong there.
Class is permanent, so you've still got to play on the man. And I have no issue with Patrick.
I don't want that to be. I don't want to take away anything from Perkins. I'm just saying there's something wrong with.
He's a bit shit. He's probably just sick of carrying Carlton, to be fair.
Yeah, well, that's part of the issue, maybe. I think.
19 touches for Cripps, 45 fantasy, and Perko
45,
18 touches and 72 fantasy.
That's horrible for Cripps.
My eyeballs probably can't follow the columns down to get any more.
That's right. But yeah, so
5 tackles for Perko, 2 for Cripps.
And the other one I'll throw in there just quickly was Hobbs. So this will be his 4th really good game in a row. That tackle that Sard got him with. Look, I don't know what he was thinking there. He sort of went, I'll just get a head-high tackle here and then we can stop and have a little break.
Well, I think...
It didn't look like he wanted to handball it or get rid of it. He looked behind and went,
cracked in
I'll just duck it.
As though he wanted to hurt him. It was a pretty crude tackle from Sard, I thought.
But he also, to be honest, he sort of leant in, he got lower.
Just while we're on that, can we laugh at Sard? Just for a second.
Yep. I'm all for this.
Just a player that left the Essendon Football Club because he wanted to play finals. He wanted to play more of a rebounding role. And he's now in a bottom 4 club who have just lost to us. Who do you reckon top 6 for this?
Do you think, I don't know what his contract states at, do you think he'll be looking for another club now?
End up back at Gold Coast.
Go back, they're looking right.
Gold Coast are better than Carlton at the minute.
Yeah, you're right.
They play them this week at the G.
That's going to
look
the Gold
barren,
Coast,
isn't it?
Go the Gold Coast.
Sit in the Gold Coast cheer squad.
I mean, I think it. We were so upset when him and a few other players left that now you're looking at it and go, well,
we had some glasses on there with that. I think the issue with them leaving was what it said about the culture, which now looking back, it was probably a bit shit.
Yeah, it probably was.
But yeah, I love the crowd too. Big, massive crowd, 83,000.
Massive crowd. It was
on par with today.
I was surprised.
The King's birthday game.
Yeah.
Every time he got the ball, the boos. And he's one that we can boo. We're allowed to boo him because he left us in shitty circumstances. He left permitted
for his own personal gain.
Yeah, permitted. And you could barely hear the woofs
Good.
Shit football club.
I hate the Wolf.
I hate the. I like that sort of crowd involvement because it's Carlton. They can get stuffed. It's shit.
Yeah.
But yes, Hobbs is playing some great footy, and he really has a bit of the Selwood about him.
Yeah.
Him in the sense of
Can't kick very
crafty
far.
and winning free kicks. I think he won 3 or 4 high tackles.
Yeah.
One, he's putting his head over the ball.
The other one, he knows when to stick his neck down.
There's a couple of just little drops, but they're subtle.
Mm.
Don't tell anyone because
Right.
Amps will be onto
Look,
it.
players do it.
They do, and it's fine. But he's been very.
So my question is, I think Parrish comes back into that side. He's our best clearance player, and I know last year Shield was like our second or third. Like he was very
number
high.
1 for centre clearances in the comp.
Yeah. So great. Sort of. How do you fit? I assume they're both ready after the bye. Is that?
Well, can we come to that?
Get to that later
In a little bit. Stay tuned. Because
Should
I
we
want
do
to talk
some negatives.
Well, no, I don't want to call them negatives because we've just beaten Carlton. There is no such thing. There is no such thing.
Okay.
Areas for improvement.
Okay, fair enough.
We were good, but
You generation of you don't want to be harsh on people.
No. I'll be harsh. I've been harsh, and I'll be. All right. I'll be harsh on Jaden Laverde because we want to talk about the back six because this is an ongoing, perpetual issue. He dropped an absolute sitter in the first 15 minutes.
Oh, that one killed me.
And I had an argument with a mate, and he's very pro Lav, but he also went to school with Lav, so I think he's a little bit biased about whether it's Baldwin or him in the team. And I think I was a bit surprised that Lav came straight back in. He thinks it's recency bias, so I was looking for things to pick on. Probably bit rough on the man's 100th game, but anyway.
But we'll do it anyway.
Dropped a sitter. Gave away the free kick to Motlop, which is a free kick every day of the week. He took his eyes off the ball and just
cannon into him.
Clattered straight into him. It's a free kick. It's totally no issue. Got up like the umper just sold his firstborn for chalk. Jaden, mate, what?
Yeah.
You took your... Jesus.
That is the full definition of frontal contact, mate. You scratched into his face, and you didn't look at the ball at all.
An umpire would seldom have a harder free kick to pay, or an easier free kick to pay rather. So again, I think it's a bit symbolic of, or not symbolic. It's not. It's an issue around the cattle in terms of their size and what they're having to play against, more so sometimes than the skill issue of the player themselves. BZT got called out, but he's still giving away 7 centimetres to Mackay.
Yep, and a fair few kilos too. He'd be probably 10 kilos, because BZT, as we looked the other day, was only 85 kilos.
And Harry's big. Harry's big boy. Not quite sure the matchup on Kerner. I think it was...
Kerner will be heavy too, I reckon.
He's not as tall, though. It's only 194 or 193. Yeah.
But this is the conversation we talk about with how we have to get better. And it's a guy like Laverde who, no fault of his own, has to get pushed out because we have to find that. So for me, we have to find a 200-centimetre defender, and I assume it's Reed. Then BZT can play on... Would BZT play on Kernow because there's a better matchup there? Because he's very quick, BZT. He's got good pace. He's probably still needs to put some muscle on. I don't know how... Let's take a while, but... and then you've got your 200-centimetre guy, Mackay, who's, again, the problem there will be Reed will be underweight, but you just have to keep building that.
Well,
And then Laverde gets pushed out because guys like Redmond stay, McGrath stay,
We've talked about this a little bit, man. I don't see Reed playing regular footy until he's...
Yeah, I know.
23, 24. So that's still 2 or 3 years away.
And I get that, and I think that's why Laverde will continue to play. But as we play better teams and we're trying to improve, this is going to be our issue of not being able to improve.
The conversation I think we need to have going forward is whether it's Laverde or Baldwin. I think they're quite interchangeable, similar height.
Yep, same height, similar weights.
And my argument with old mate was Baldwin is a better mark.
Better mark, much.
Better decision maker.
Better kick.
Better kick. Lav did a bloody brilliant handball.
Yep.
Was 20 metres in front of Redmond. I think that was in that passage of play we were talking
Yep,
about earlier.
it was.
That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's one moment. He dropped 2 marks. I don't care that he gave away the free kick, but the fact he argued about it just shows
Annoyed me.
he's not
It's like,
overly
why?
smart.
Yeah.
He's a hard footballer, and I don't think he's a bad footballer. I just think that if you're comparing depth versus what is in the current best 22, I would be an advocate for Baldwin.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I would like to... I mean, the perfect thing, I'd love to have seen Baldwin play that game and seen how he went. I'd like to see Baldwin play on some good forwards and see if we're wrong. Because what we are saying, you and I, is that we think we've seen something in him that puts him ahead of Laverde. Now, we can be wrong, obviously, but what we're just saying is that we've seen it and we'd like maybe to have we're proved wrong or right. And can't do it if Baldwin's not playing.
And then the little voice in the back of my head is that we played Richmond, and that's the game that I'm sort of basing a lot of this judgment off. We played 2 games, but it was the one against Richmond where I thought, you know what, this could work. They had Rewalt, and that was about it in terms of size. They didn't have a massive forward one, so that alone could sort of cloud that judgment. And it was Laverde last year who was getting the 200 centimetre early last year. Before Zerk came in. So,
and then at the other end, I would say Snelling would be the one for me. Or Jam Tin, as I like to call him.
Yeah, can't kick over her.
Because he cannot kick over. This is just a little dribbly little kicks he does.
He had 14 touches, 6 tackles, and a goal.
And they're all good numbers. But again, we have to, like, for example, Parrish and Shield have to come into that side. I still think Sardis will probably come in.
Eventually, yeah.
He had 26 touches in the VFL. Looks like a star. I would pick Sardis over him to play that role, even though I'd want him in the midfield, but I just want him in the team getting experience. Like, he's a quality mover of the ball. He's got great pace.
Yeah.
Just, so he's a guy I see as a bit of a weak link down there. He tackles, Snelling does, he gives his all, but I think his issue is just going to be he doesn't have a lot of attributes. He's way too small. Well, he's not way too small. He just can't kick. He's just a bit sloppy sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm
on the fence with Snelling.
No,
I have a thing in my head that we're better with him in this team, but I don't really know
I don't think we are. I think he's the guys that him. I don't know who else in that forward 6, but there might be one. Like, I'm fascinated. Like Davey and Tipperwoody and Wanganeen played. I don't know how he went in the VFL. I don't know if he played actually. I didn't see his number.
Oh.
So there's some guys there that I'm really keen to see somehow in the seniors. Now they don't get gifted games, but yeah. And I don't think Tip and Woody would probably get a game, but I mean, Davies surely in the next 2 years should be playing as our, and both Davies possibly.
Well, I did see Davey Jr. played more up the ground and had far more of an impact against,
which is great
in the VFL. So yeah,
because
that's good because I'm a bit worried about him. He's a first year player, but I just
But he like if he plays the rest of the year VFL, that's great. But he just gets through a year, gets everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I give you a stat, please?
Go. Love a stat.
Our back 6, Ridley, Redmond, McGrath, Laverde, Heppel, Zerk, Thatcher, combined for a total of 109 disposals.
Yep. I know this stat.
104 of them were effective.
Yep. I don't disagree with that. But I read an article and I forwarded it on to you. I don't know if you read it about this effective and ineffective kicks. And there's a deeper dive into it, and it's what you have to do sort of next.
Yeah,
and
look, that's the thing about stats. I'd rather just reel off the numbers and sound impressive and move on.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't doubt that Laverde's numbers are good. Probably Heppel's numbers have been great in the last 8 weeks, but they're not guys that set the game up. Like Baldwin, the way he kicked the ball in those 2 or 3 games we watched, the way he hit targets on leads and stuff like that, I saw stuff. It's my eyes. It's not the stats. You see stuff you see players do things and go, "Oh."
Your eyes are more important.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
And I trust my eyes because they got us Peter Wright.
Excuse me. That was my idea. You jumped onto
well,
there.
Just it was your idea. It was my idea.
Hey! You are all about ruckman and backman. I'm all about forwards. So get stuffed.
We'll see how that goes.
Even though I say defence wins premierships.
Have we got any comments from the group?
Well, I was going to say let's do some votes.
All right. Yep.
And then jump into some socials, and then we'll look at the VFL.
Yep.
Fairly easy this week.
Although we were
was
different.
A bit hard. I'm going to go the other way this time. I went Caldwell 1.
Yep.
I went Peter Wright 2, just because I'm biased for my forwards.
Yeah, you love your Petey Wright.
And BDE Nick Martin 3.
BTE, man. BDM. BDEM.
No, what? Just BDE. It's fine.
All right.
And you went?
Well, I went BDE 3 and Caldwell 2. I thought his clearance work and stuff was really good. And the big 2-meter Peter back after such a long break just to slot 5-1 was pretty impressive.
No. 5-0. Get stuff. What does the AFL app have him at, actually? 5-0. The AFL has him at 5-0 and he can get stuffed. Apologies there to Perkins, Menzies, Hobbs. They're all very good.
Oh, yeah. This is how top 3 work. You can't give it to everyone.
Now, socials, I normally write them down, but I haven't done that tonight. So I'm just going to have to go through them on my phone. Apologies for that.
That's fine.
Tim Watson. I don't think it's that.
It's real. Tim Watson's listening. Oh, I love Tim Watson. Oh, did you see the 93 team was there?
Yes, I did.
That's a team. And interesting, they said something. Sorry to interrupt. They did say, so when we won the premiership that year, the numbers were exactly the same as our list right now. Like they were, 2 months older or younger. Games experience was about the same, and you think, wow.
Yeah, wow. So
we meant to have a dynasty then, but we didn't.
Not real Tim Watson, but a Tim Watson.
Yep.
I was wrapped with our second half, but honestly thought we controlled the first quarter and didn't put the scoreboard pressure on them. Game could have been over by quarter time. Still happy with the win over the Blues. Nick, having our first choice midfielders out hasn't been ideal, but gee, it's fast tracked some of our younger mids. Every cloud has a silver lining. It's great.
Well, it's a bit like the forwards. We've seen some other things when Wright's been out. We've just thought, he's doing all right. We've been how to see Langford as a forward instead of a winger, and I think we've gone, well, this works.
Oh, jeez.
What?
Phil's written an essay. I apologise, Phil. I'm not going to be able to read the whole thing. I'm just going to pick bits from it. Heppel's season's getting better as it goes. Feel like he's a big part of why the back six is doing what it is at the moment. He's been rock solid.
He has been unreal.
Him. He's buying into the hypes. Try that again. He's buying into the Hobbs hype, not the hype's hob. Skeptically optimistic. That's a bit of an oxymoron there, Phil. About him. However, now I feel it's going to be really hard to pick Shield over him.
I understand what he's saying there, but
there's some conversations to be
I
had.
think what you have to do is Shield has to be cherry ripe. He can't come back like his last game and not be right. Like he has to do full training, run. Not just he's close enough. No, it's not good enough.
Absolutely. Merritt and Martin are AA in All Australian form.
Class players rise to the top. Like kicking, handball, decision making, just quality.
If Nick Martin can go from not on a senior list, not getting picked up in a draft, rookie draft, anything to All Australian within 2 seasons. 2 years. Wow.
Be amazing. Wonder who else has come out that quickly for rookie and got. I'm sure there'd be a whole bunch of players.
Not off the supplemental, I wouldn't have thought. Maybe your rookie draft.
Yeah.
Sure.
There'd be others. Good research.
Peter Wright showed a down in the dumps footy side what key forwards should do. I imagine Kerno and Mackay were a little bit jealous of his kicking. There's nothing wrong with Kerno's set shots. It's Mackay.
Yeah, that first one of his, that snap, but it didn't even make the distance from 25 out. Was horrible.
Kerno dobbed one from 50 that just went through half post height.
The commentators did have a massive dig at the Suns about how was this guy not playing senior football 3 or 4 years ago? Like, I'm like, Suns would be like, who the
fuck is that guy? Phil gave 3 to Marto, 2 to Merritt, and 1 to Peter Wright.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I thought Merritt was in that second half was really influential.
Yes. The chain of handballs, this is Michael. The chain of handballs in the third leading to the Menzies goal was fire emojis. Love a good fire emoji. It's actually on the Facebook title.
That was pretty. Hey, quick question. So I think it was in that third quarter when the Carlton person, I don't know, administration person on the bench held up that the blue, what I would describe as a on-off button.
Mm-hmm.
Would you?
Yeah. So,
and I was like, and he held it for a while. Like they cut to it early, and then they cut 5 minutes later. He's still holding it. I'm going, that's not working.
I think the official answer would be to conserve. Just conserve energy. Not turn off, but just control the game for a little bit, perhaps. But some of the memes that have come out of it,
funny,
suggesting Carlton supporters turn the TV off. Someone's just photoshopped the "They Know We're Coming" membership thing with Judd on it from friggin' 25 years ago.
Yeah, that was a funny one. They know they were coming. That was a shocker.
Just,
I was up there with what was ours?
Oh no, ours was far worse. Whatever it takes.
I've got the sticker here somewhere still.
Yeah, I've still got the scarf.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Yeah. Not the best timing. Whatever it takes without a drug saga. Great.
Yep.
Great.
Whatever it takes, but not drugs.
We should do it again next year. Whatever it takes, and then a little asterisk underneath, but not that.
Not drugs.
But no, I won't do that. Jeez.
And I also loved. So on, I sent you a little audio of a guy on 3AW just, the coach stars at the top as the coach at the board as the captain, and so, I love watching them rip themselves apart.
I do want to talk about that a little bit. Bit of oppo analysis here. Bear with us. One, I thought it was really unfair. Channel 7 kept cutting to Michael Voss.
Yep.
I genuinely don't think Carlton have got the list they think they have. We know because we've been there.
Yep.
We were there 3 or 4 years ago where we got Shield and all these
probably
good players.
2 years ago, mate. But yeah.
Well, yeah. So we're guilty of it ourselves. But they've got the pillars. They've got obviously Mackay Kerno, they've got Cripps, they've got Walsh, they've got Wiedering.
Yeah.
But Chera, there's another one. But outside of that, they're stuffing around with Silvani a lot.
Yeah. Play the guy as a half.
Play the man as one position.
Yeah, play him as just centre back and just let him play that role for 5
footballer.
years. Yeah, he's a good footballer. Don't stick the poor bloke in the ruck. That's not fair.
So Phil's just said almost whatever it takes.
And I think they've got when a guy like Kernow comes back in just to tag, I'm like, well, I don't want that at my club. That's not really. I just want my midfielders to beat the other midfielders.
It's that bottom six. I don't think their bottom six is much chop. Jack Martin came back in and was pretty meh.
Motlop's meh.
Motlop, he provides a little bit in terms of.
He's a bit meh.
Electric. Wiedering's not playing great football, but he's the pillar. He's the big guy.
What's his name? Chincotta? But he's only played a few games.
So he kicked the first goal for them and did the jumper celebration. Yeah. I posted that on the Facebook page after the game in irony, being like, yeah, that was one of your 6 goals for the night, Carlton.
Yep.
No one got that.
Well, I understand it's his first goal for the club. He would have been very excited. I think it was his first goal.
Yeah,
But you don't go over celebrating in the first quarter.
Not the jumper.
Not the grab the jumper. You do that. That's a last quarter kicking in front.
Yeah.
And even if you lose it, that's fine.
You're not on Facebook, but you got where I was going with that. Not a lot.
100%. You don't pull that out in the first quarter. No. But I'm excited that you kick your first goal on AFL.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough, champ. You know who is shit for them? They should delist him immediately. Adam Sard. I hate every
hope he gets it. I hope they make a deal with Gold Coast, for a first round pick and send him back there.
Mitch McGovern played his 100th, average footballer. There's not a lot of class, and I'm sure with them finishing 9th last year, being top 4 after whatever it was, they would have expected that natural progression, but just not there. And they might just be on a down year. We've seen teams do this where they push and they drop and then they come back. Port are doing it now. But Port always had the quality. I don't think Carlton do.
Yeah, well, a guy like Paddy Dow, who, to be honest, I guess he looks like a pretty decent football player, and his VFL numbers are really, really good.
Mm.
But he's never going to get a game in that club because his style of football is too common. Like that's why Setterfield had to leave, and that's a guy we haven't even mentioned. Who's
Got to come back in, yes. Yep.
Yeah, he's got to come back in. But so Setterfield and Dow were pretty similar sort of clearance sort of midfielders, but they couldn't get that role because of Cripps. At the moment, Cripps is not even doing that. Like that's the thing I don't get is that Cripps is not playing that role very well. Maybe Paddy Dow should play, and Cripps should. We'll stick him.
He's 194, so the man could sit forward theoretically.
Yeah. But anyway, these are Carlton problems, not our problems.
I almost feel sorry for them. I don't. But
it's a bit cool.
We've been there, we've experienced it, and we might still be. We don't know this until after the fact. We're either on the rise to a flag or we're not. Like that's the only two outcomes here.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Carlton.
Any other
list analysis aside?
The
VFL, the VFL.
The VFL.
We did lose.
That's Sardis.
We're not very
25
good
touches
in the VFL, it seems. We lost 99-68 against Carlton at Icon Park. Hunter kicked 4. Good day out for him. That's now 5 in his first 2 games. I don't know why I'm looking at my phone. I got it written all down here. Brian. Oh, I didn't do it right. Brian.
Looks like Wanganee didn't play.
No, we held 3 over.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Brian kicked 1 goal, 133 Dream Team, and 31 hitouts.
140 Dream Team.
Oh, okay, whatever. Tomato. And Sartis. I'm glad we finally worked out how to say his name. 24 touches and 2 behinds.
25 touches. Where are you reading this from? I'm looking at the VFL on the AFL website at the moment, and I'm wondering, where are you getting your data from? Is this you young kids looking at that?
Just
what's
the
it
Footy
called?
Live app.
Pinterest?
No,
Pinterest or whatever.
Live. It's the Sportsmate app.
Well, I'm looking at the. Sorry, people, for this while we do this.
Yeah. All right. No, well, your data's probably more accurate than mine. I've got to stop using that app then.
Well, okay. What I found fascinating was Nick Bryant and Sardis both had 25 disposals. Nick Bryant had 31 hitouts and 9 marks. My God, that's a good ruckman that gets around the ground, take 9 marks. But Sardis, and I saw a little bit of footage from the Sardi.
No, that sounds too much like Sard.
Oh yeah, to Tasikas. Remember we thought it was Taziki dip when we first saw it.
We agreed we weren't going to make that joke because it's a bit racially insensitive. But
apologies. And he some of the movements. There was a little clearance out of a boundary throw in. I thought, oh wow,
Ilky.
So it's exciting. I mean, I think we said this last week. I still think we're at our limit, of how good we can be. And our next, I did take a little screen grab of this just for our after the bye sort of what we've got to deal with. And people were saying we had an easy run, and I had a little look. So we've got Fremantle at their home. That's not easy.
Well, it looked a lot harder until they lost to Richmond.
Yeah. Port Adelaide at Adelaide.
Nope.
Port Adelaide here, which is still going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Adelaide at Adelaide.
Nope. Adelaide's in Melbourne too.
Okay, I'll stop saying
what app are you using?
No. We got Geelong in Geelong.
Yeah, Goomba. That one is at Goomba.
Yep. The Bulldogs.
Yeah, tough.
I mean, they're 4 tough games, right? They're 4 or 5 tough games. And then we got Sydney, which I think's at the moment
Sydney
easy.
and Melbourne's a should win, yep.
Yep. West Coast North.
Should win.
Let's hope we can do that. And then GWS, which...
That's a tough game up there at the moment.
Yep. And then Collywobbles in the last game.
Love to do them.
There's 5 or 6 pretty...
Yeah.
50-50s there, at least.
We do have the bye first, and the bye are undefeated this year. So...
Win the bye this
tough
week.
One coming up. You've ruined my joke there a little bit, but that's all right. Yeah, it's not an easy... Well, I was going to introduce the bye as though we're playing the bye, and then you went straight into what's after the bye, and we didn't talk about it, and it's fine, really. It was a shit joke.
Millennials with your humour.
Thanks for calling it humour. It's a tough run, but we can look ahead to Freo, I guess, because we're not really going to have a chance to review the pod next week.
Well, next week we're going to do a mid-year...
Yeah, but we won't talk about the upcoming game. So,
yep, okay.
Fremantle.
Fremantle?
Hot and cold. I love calling them that, and you react in the same way every time. They're a bit hot and cold. don't. I don't watch a lot of them, to be fair. They don't seem to have a lot of big forwards, so that won't put the pressure
No, the
as much
giant miss
on
has
the...
kicked
He's
20
a
on.
good little player. Amos.
Try a miss.
It's Amos, clown. But he's not massive, and he's still a kid, so we get away a little bit with that issue of...
That's when the Laverde should have a good game against him.
Yeah, not having the big super duper tall.
The probably challenge is that they will have, I imagine they'll have their ruckman Darcy back.
Yep.
So that
we'll
means
have our Darcy back though.
Yep, but that'll mean that Jackson will play forward.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's a tough matchup.
But that's where it gets hard. Yep. Didn't realise Darcy was out, to be honest.
Well, he's missed. I reckon he's missed 2, maybe 3 weeks from something.
Okay. He's a big boy.
Sore bottom. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, Alex Pearce is a good defender. And they've got good mids in...
Well, yeah, they've got a few. Young has been a good player down there at the moment.
Yeah, Young's good off halfback too. Who are their mids? Brayshaw?
Brayshaw, not Chera.
Used to be Chera. Switkowski?
No, well, it's something like Chera.
Oh, Sarong.
Sarong, that's it. It's not like Chera, but it's...
Yeah, I knew he meant in the end.
Yeah. It's obviously... what's his name? He came over from Hawthorn. Was the number 1 pick back in the day.
Oh, O'Meara.
And I see Super Fife has been playing a little bit in the midfield too.
Hasn't been having much of an effect.
And the other interesting one, I can't think of his name, who was a star from last year, who came from another club. And
I know who you mean, and this is really great unprepared from us.
But he was having a great year last year, and then all of a sudden he's gone off the radar again. They've stopped playing him or cut back on. Just like... Seems unfair. Like he was pretty good last year.
Yeah, I know who you mean. He was in my super coach.
Yeah, that's how I remember him too.
I don't do super coach though this year. Anyway. A tough game in the West. I think winning over there a couple of weeks ago, even though it was on the West Coast, it's good for the mental aspect, Winning form's good form. Tip, if you don't mind.
Well, I reckon with the break will be great for us.
Too flat.
Sorry?
As long as we don't come out too flat.
Well, we're not going too flat. And I really would like to see a couple of Sardis possibly get a game. Because, silly question, is the VFL playing next week?
It's not silly at all. We will probably
question
end up
without
with
notice.
A non-AFL listed, non-AFL equivalent. No, we have a bye.
No, that's a bit annoying because I would have liked to have seen. I thought it would have been great for Sardis to play that another game.
We would have all gone and watched too.
So the other tall forward for them is Josh Tracy.
Okay, never heard of him.
Who's 195.
Yeah, that's BZT height.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And a youngish kid, 20.
Yeah.
You're
not going to go away with it that easily. Tip, please.
Oh, Essendon by 12 points. Sorry. Yes, you're right. I forgot the main part.
I'll say flag DONS by 2.
Flag DONS. You dork.
Yeah, we haven't got hope. What have we got? Right, well, that's probably about it then.
Yeah, that is. Let's wrap it up.
We can all just enjoy our week knowing that Carlton are in the mud once again.
Oh, and who's excited about work tomorrow with all the Carlton supporters they've got at work?
I work from home on Tuesdays. I'm going to miss out. I have to do it Wednesday.
Oh, nearly go in. I'm going in. I'll be like, hello, you know who they are, Sam?
Double dose, mate. You go on Tuesday, I'll go Wednesday.
Yep. Oh, that's good. That's good. Double team them. I like it.
I try not to be too much.
Oh, a little bit, Mark. I won't be like singing the song or anything to them, but
there's a couple. One's not too bad.
There's
good
some
and bad ones.
There's one that'll be getting a little like your
I
team
reckon I know who that is. Yep.
Yep.
We haven't really talked about this between me and you. This pod next week. What are we saying? Shall we do it same time Monday night, or do you want to do
same bat times? I reckon we'll do it same bat time, same bat channel next week, and then after that we'll try and do it within 24 hours of the game.
Yeah, but next week's no games. This is a special edition podcast.
Yeah, I'm saying we'll just do it Monday night next week.
All right, I think we'll do it.
Or do we do it a Saturday?
I think we'll do it earlier, but we'll work that out.
Right, we'll do it a Saturday. We don't need to do it live anymore, do we?
Should have been prepared for that. Anyway, 3 of the 4 teams that had the bye last week lost this week. So
Geelong always used to lose after a bye.
Yeah, there was a couple of them. We're the same. I feel like we come out flat after the bye.
Geelong used to be always. They had like a run of like 10 in a row. I reckon it was horrible. Anyway,
I don't know what
let's wrap it up.
to be honest. Yep, righto. Go Dons. We'll talk to you next week.
Go Bombers!